first question. First one to raise their hand gets to go at it. Let's go. Steve Hellwagon, first hand up. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this. Just wanted to ask, watching Northwestern, it just feels like Boo Buie is such a catalyst in everything that they do. Just what kind of interesting issues does he present for a defense, and how do you guys go about trying to keep a handle on him?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is he can affect you a lot of different ways, not just in pick and roll, but he can hurt you off of like some off ball screening actions, isolation. And then he has really good players around him. They've got really good shooting around him. He's got a really good passing big in Nicholson. So, their whole team kind of poses some unique challenges, not just with him, but their entire team, just in terms of like, you can't just completely focus on him. There's a fine line between completely taking him away and letting everybody else get going. So yeah, it's been fun to prepare for, and get ready for. And, we're excited for that challenge. Absolutely.
Yep. In these last 5 games, it felt like in the beginning, your team was pretty strong defensively, but maybe some principles have slipped here these last 5 games. And particularly the last game, it just felt that Nebraska, on too many instances, was left alone behind the arc. Just what did they do to maybe confound you guys a little bit, and what can you guys do to get back on top of things defensively?
Yeah, like you said, the first 14 games of the year, we were pretty strong. I believe we were about 42nd in defense, depending on the day, from KenPom. So it's about where we want to be, not exactly, but we were making good strides. And in terms of that, like our 3-point defense was good. Our shots at the rim and our rim defense was really good. But like you said, the last 5 games, we've had a lot of slippage, mainly from the 3-point arc. Our rim defense is still really good. I believe we're still top 10 from that standpoint. Obviously, Felix Okpara, really helps with that a lot. But we've dropped significantly from the 3-point line. With the ice, sometimes you're going to get that just with like shooting bigs, kind of like what Nebraska did. And then there has been some unfortunate shots being made, like with Penn State, with, like Puff Johnson making some shots, or them throwing in some stuff that were pretty tough. But there are some things we certainly need to be better within the confines of our system and what we need to get done there, in order to protect the paint first, but also, limit and take away shots. There's some things we can do from like a contesting standpoint. We could be better as well. The 3-point line is where we are struggling at right now defensively. And to bring it back to Northwestern, they bring a unique challenge with that as well. I believe they're if not the best 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten, they're one of the best, just top to bottom. So we're going to have to be really on point from that standpoint.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go Adam Jardy and then Andy Backstrom on deck. Adam.
Yeah, Brandon, thanks again for doing this. As you talk about that 3-point defense, I just wonder, like, do you have the guys that are capable of being more consistent on in that specific aspect? Because it seems like maybe that's the kind of thing that it's hard to scheme around if you just don't have the right bodies. Like, do you think this team is equipped to be able to be more consistent as far as taking away some of those opportunities, especially like when a big starts getting hot?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Not only do we have the guys with the ability to do that, we have the guys that care about it as well. They work at it. They've committed to it. They know why it matters. Our guys are more than capable of getting that job done and improving. It's just, going to come to like us getting better with it, working on it on practice, showing it on film. We actually had a film session about that yesterday, just in terms of us getting better from the 3-point line defensive standpoint. Our guys are more than capable of doing it and more than willing to get that done. Absolutely.
Well, what would you say have been some of the bigger challenges preventing this team from just generally being a little bit more consistent in some of those areas?
I mean, I wouldn't say, you know,
I guess from like an all-around defense. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, I think our guys have gotten better. You know, I think that they've really committed to that end of the floor, and this, for whatever reason, has just been an unfortunate stretch. You know, sometimes teams go through this. You guys probably know this better than me in terms of college basketball, just from where I'm coming from. But you know, teams do go through some tough stretches, and for whatever reason, we're going through that right now. And good teams, it's not just great for them the entire year, their entire career. You know, great players, great teams have to go through tough times in order to become great teams. They have to go through adversity and overcome adversity, right, in order to become great teams. So just not just from a defensive standpoint, but just overall, like this just may be something that we have to go through right now. And, you know, our guys and Coach Holt, like, you know, those are the guys that are going to see us through that. Like they're really great at what they do and they care about what they do. So yeah, I'm more than confident that they're going to, you know, get that done. So
Thanks.
yeah.
All right, we'll go Andy Backstrom with Patrick Ingalls on deck. Andy.
How would you assess the ball screen coverage right now, and how important is the communication aspect of that, especially on the road in these kind of environments?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good right now. I mean, there's just like anything that you do offensively or defensively, I think there are some things you've always got to get better on. There's always stuff to improve on throughout the year. It doesn't matter what level you're on or where you're at. But I'd say overall, I'm pretty pleased with our overall like pick and roll defense. You know, I believe we're, you know, according to Synergy at least, like we're still rated pretty high from that standpoint. It has caused some problems for some teams. But yeah, just like I said, like just like anything, there's always stuff to get better on and improve on. You know, the biggest thing is just like how does your pick and roll defense, how does your overall defensive system, you know, look against whether it's great teams, great coaches, great players. Like there are some things we're going to have to like really emphasize and get better with, you know, going into Northwestern, just like there's some things we're going to have to adjust or get better with when we go play Illinois, you know, coming up as well. So, you know, against Nebraska, you know, we knew Mass was going to cause some issues for us because of the ice with like his pick and pop ability. Now, I wouldn't say we were going to expecting all of what we saw the other night, you know, with all that stuff. You know, great players, you know, do great things, you know. So yeah, like I'd say overall we're where we should be, and we just got to keep getting better.
And then in a stretch like this where the shots just aren't falling offensively, what changes defensively? I know, like, obviously you have to be more sound on that end of the floor, but I guess more specifically, like what kind of adjustments do you have to make defensively when, you know, you have to be playing better because the offense isn't falling?
Yeah, I think just we have to help the offense, you know, help ourselves offensively. You know, that we're not split up here. Obviously, it's cyclical. Offense affects your defense, defense affects your offense. So we just have to continue to work to get stops and finish plays in order for our offense to get easier opportunities in early offense or transition situations. So they're not just constantly, you know, setting up in the half court. You know what I mean? So I think that's just the biggest way that, you know, we can kind of help ourselves on both ends of the floor is, you know, finishing plays, you know, making sure we're rebounding, we're getting 50-50 balls. I believe we're one of the best teams at doing that. And then, you know, we're protecting the rim, like as I said earlier, at a pretty good rate. Now we just have to contest shots better on the perimeter from three right now. So, yeah.
Well, Patrick Ingalls and then Patrick Murphy.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for doing this. You kind of touched on it before about Northwestern's like perimeter shooting, but I looked at they have like 4 guys that shoot over, I think 35% from the field. So I guess like when just watching them like on film or whatever, like what specifically like jumps out to you about their like perimeter shooting, and like maybe like what do you need to do on the defensive end to kind of stop that?
Yeah, I don't want to get into like too many specifics about how we would defend it. But if they can get shots in multiple different ways, they can get them in transition. You know, Bowie is very willing and capable of shooting threes behind pick and roll. They do a ton of off-ball screening actions for guys to come off, whether that's handoffs or splits. You know, they do a lot of tight curls to like get guys open for threes. And then I mentioned like, you know, number 34, Nicholson, like he doesn't shoot a three, but he gets guys threes, whether that's with his screening, right, or his passing. You know what I mean? So they're really, really versatile in a lot of different things that they're doing, which is why it's been like such a great challenge and opportunity to prepare for them. You know, it's been really, really, really fun. So.
Yeah, and then one more question. I don't think we've spoken to you since the season. So just based on like your first year you're here, like what have you made of your first year, and like maybe is this what you were expecting? And then kind of just like what have you, I guess, made of this first year?
Yeah, it's been really great. I love being here. I love working for Coach Holtman. I love working with the staff and for the players. This is a great community here at Ohio State, like just the athletic community, the fans and the people around it. It's been great for my family. I have a beautiful wife. I have 4 kids with a 5th one on the way. So we've got a lot of bodies, a lot of rugrats around. So like this has been really good and fun for them. They've been able to go to the games and things like that. You know, in terms of the basketball, like the players are outstanding. Like I'm having more fun coaching these guys than like really a lot of guys in my entire career. That's more saying about our guys more than anything else. Like I've worked with a lot of really good players and people, you know, like the guys we have here are just outstanding. So I can't say enough about my experience here. In terms of like what I was expecting, like, you know, like I expected it to be like a good situation. I didn't expect it to be like as fun as I'm having like right now. Like this is great. Like I'm from the Midwest, you know, I'm from Chicago. So like Big Ten basketball is, you know, all we watched growing up with my dad's a high school basketball coach. So yeah, like just going to obviously being here in Columbus, like going to all these different schools in the Big Ten, like, you know, I'm going to Northwestern actually, like, you know, tonight, like my whole family will be there. A lot of family friends will be there. So yeah, no, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. So get to have some Chicago pizza. I mean, come on, guys, what are we talking about? It's great. It's fantastic.
There you go. A good kid on your way. Seems like we should have your wife on here for this call instead of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we'll finish up with Patrick Murphy. Patrick.
Yeah, Brandon, I was going to say we should do a whole interview just on how you deal with 4 kids and another one on the way while doing this job. That's impressive.
I'll tell you, I'll give you a really simple answer. You marry the right person and, you know, yeah, so you marry the right person. There you go.
Makes sense. On the basketball court, what's it been like to work with a guy like Felix, who obviously has a lot of raw ability, but is still kind of coming into his own? I know he considers himself kind of a defense first guy. And then how does that play out to the rest of the defense when you have a guy like that in the paint?
Yeah, I mean, a guy like him, like, you know, especially in the style that we're playing, you know, makes a lot of it work. You know, you obviously need guards like Roddy Gale and Bruce Thornton, Scotty Middleton, Jamison Battle, you know, like guys like that have the ability to get into the basketball a little bit more. But like having a guy like him and Zed Key back there, not just with the ability, but like you said, like the willingness and care factor to be back there and protect us back there, is so vital and so key. There's a lot of ways to defend and be successful defending. But the players are the ones that kind of make all of it work. And like guys like Felix are the reason why like what we're doing right now is working, and it's helping us get better defensively, especially in the style that we're playing. You know, he's a great catalyst for us on the end of the floor, a great vocal leader for us, especially in practice. You know, yeah, no, he's outstanding. He's one of the guys I was saying like earlier that like just having so much fun, like being around and working with and for to help and help get better, help him along in whatever part of the journey that he's on right now. So yeah, no, it's been good. He's awesome.
And we've talked to guys and Coach Holtman and other coaches on the staff this year about when you guys have gone through some struggles, there can be some mental side of that, especially with young guys, whether it be shooting, whether it be you know, whatever the case may be. Now, a lot of talk about the road losses, and I just wonder from your experience coaching it at various levels, how do you kind of get over the hump of some of those mental hurdles when that's just kind of sitting around in the back of guys' minds as you go through the course of a season?
Yeah, I think number one, you always, you know, be forward thinking and be present in where you're at, right? So today, like, we got to focus on getting better today. But then, like, you know, when we're watching film, when we're reviewing a past game, you know, acknowledging those moments when we feel like we've had adversity and we haven't responded well, and then you know, trying to like come to some type of conclusion of like, well, how are we going to respond the next time? You know, like, what are we going to do? Like, you know, whether that's from a schematic standpoint or like you're saying, like a mental, like how are we mentally preparing for the next time this happens? Because there's always going to be adversity in any game that you play, especially right now, with the caliber of teams that we're playing, and just the emotions in the arenas that we're playing as well. And you know, the reality is like we don't have a lot of guys that have been in a lot of these situations right now that have been successful because we're so young. And that's okay as long as like we continue to grow and get better with it, like you're saying. So yeah, I'd say a lot of it is just continue to work and get better in practice, and then you know you know, trying to point out when those times when adversity comes in film, and you know, learn from them. Like it's okay to go through adversity and then some, you know, have moments like that, but you've got to come out of it and learn from it and get better from it, you know. So I think that's honestly the biggest thing that we're kind of dealing with right now. You know, and again, like it's okay as long as we're getting better from it. So
Awesome. Coach, thank you. We'll get Jameson in here and let's get off the practice.